Hey guys, welcome back to another video on the Inside Spurs channel. Happy Monday evening. Hope you're well, hope you're looking after yourself. And look, I hope today was an alright day at least, you know. I know the weekend's a bit miserable because of the football. I hope this week's at least started with what could be a good week. We've got a longer video today, I can already promise you that. I'm talking about 5 news stories, okay? I can count, okay? So we have an update around a bid rejection for Sebastian Cáceres. We have a new update on I wouldn't say new, but a reignited interest in a Chelsea defender. We'll also talk about a surprise reignition of interest in Dier. We do also have an update around some scouting reports on Sporting Lisbon stars, and also a brand new bit of interest in a under 21 English player from Juventus. So plenty to get into. And I'm going to start with Caceres because that was the main one. It came from Sport Witness, and they put out that Sebastian Castro, this is from Mexico, that Tottenham have had a £3 million rejection for the defender. Spurs not giving up, new update expected in the near future. Now, I don't think it's any surprise that Spurs want to go and get a deal for Sebastian Castro, to be honest. Cheap, easy to work, easy to do, easy to sort wages. It's just a very easy deal, all things considered. The fact that, you know, CF America have also found themselves a replacement already kind of means this deal, I just think this deal will get done. It's a matter of when, not if, I think is the best way you could sum up this deal. I think we can all look at the squad right now, and look, I had a rant on my previous video. If you haven't watched, go back and have a watch after this video. And I had a bit of rant about the fact that, you know, the centre-half position's not very good at the moment. You know, whatever you may feel about Sebastian Castro or Ashley Phillips or Alfie Dorrington, they're centre-backs. We played a left-back at centre-back, but we have centre-backs there. And I really am desperate to see actual centre-backs playing the actual centre-back role. And the fact we brought one in this summer, the fact we have one that's doing fantastically well in the youth teams right now, it screams, let's get them to have a game of football. And I would have loved to have had Wolves be their first game leading into the international break, leading into Villa after that. And then obviously the big one was City. It would have been nice to give them a bit of a runway to play a bit of football. But on Sebastian Cáceres, I think that's a deal that will get done in January because it's cheap. And as much as I've already reported from David Ornstein, there isn't a ton of money. Well, if you're looking at about 5 million, I'm sure Spurs can afford 5 million. As much as you may think Daniel Levy is this, that, or the other, I'm going to allow you in that part of that sentence to put your own words in for this, that, and the other. 5 million isn't a lot for a signing. That's how I think it'll be. Somewhere between 3 and 5, somewhere between 4 and 5 maybe. It's a deal that will get done. And, you know, it's a lot of people kind of say, you know, but he makes mistakes, he does this, that, and the other. I think coaching will help a guy when he's in his sort of young to mid-20s. So early to mid-20s, not young. Well, it is young, but you know what I mean. Early to mid-20s. Let's talk about the reignition, not the song. The reignition of a Chelsea defender. So from Peter O'Rourke, put out that Tottenham are interested in January move for Chelsea defender Trevor Chalobah. You thought I was going Thiago Silva, didn't you? You thought I was doing it. Look, he's not playing at Chelsea. I know he's had some injuries this year, but he's not playing at Chelsea. You think of the defenders they do have. You know, you do have a Thiago Silva, Batshuayi, Disasi, Wesley Fofana. I'm probably missing a few here, but they've got about £1 billion, to be honest. It's what you get when you spend £1 billion. He is on the outside looking in. Even at right back, you've got Gusto and Reece James now who's sort of come back to a bit of fitness. I think he's moving on in January. You know, he was close to moving in the summer. I think he finally moves in January. He would suit Ange's system, I can't lie. When you do think about his characteristics, you know, young so can get coached, physically pretty imposing. The fact he can play a right back or even a holding midfield if you truly need him to is a beneficial versatility. He's quick, decent enough in the air, good enough to play out from the back. All these things tick the boxes of an Ange player. In the summer, I didn't hate the idea of Trevor Chalobah. I just wasn't blown away by it. And the more I've thought about it, the more that I see it works. Now, don't get me wrong, you probably open up the door to Chelsea having easing of their financial fair play situation. True. But at the same time, think about yourself. Don't think about another club. Don't think about anything to do with their financial fair play. Think about yourselves. And he would be a player that would suit Ange's system, and that's the way I would look at it. What evaluation looks like on a Trevor Chalobah? Well, you've got the English tax, which is about 10 million already, right? So you're thinking it's going to be minimum 10 million. It's how I think Harry Winks, got sold for 10 million. I was like, that's just English tax. There's not much to it. I think you're probably looking around 30 odd million, to be honest, because the fact he is fairly young, the fact he can play different positions, the fact that he is a modern style centre back, I think he'd play a lot more at Spurs, to be honest. You think Romero, gets some injuries. I know he got suspension, but he gets injuries. Van der Ven's already picked up an injury and he's only been playing 10, 11 games. He's going to get some good minutes, The fact that he can play right back as well, I think it's just a bonus, to be honest. That's the way I'll look at that one. So we'll keep an eye on that, that's for sure. Let's talk about the other reignition of interest. And this was the shock one. Eric Dier, right? I talked about in the summer that he had interest from like a Sporting Lisbon, I think Saudi Arabia in there, Bayern Munich, all that kind of stuff. Excuse me. And then we also talked about, he's got 6 months left on his contract come summertime. Will Spurs be able just to move him on loan for 6 months just to free up a space for a centre-back to come in? We may have our out. We may have it, I promise. So Peter O'Rourke, again, who put out that Bayern Munich has set their sights on a shock deal for Tottenham star Eric Dier. This is for January, by the way. This is what we're talking about. Yes, please. Harry Kane, I talked about it in the summer. Harry Kane, do us a favour, mate. Get us one more assist whilst you're away from the club. Eric Dier. Look, I think he'd probably do well in Germany, to be honest. You could put him as centre mid in that Bayern Munich system because they have the ball 85% of the time. No, we're not going to talk about Eric Dier for long, but he doesn't suit Ange's system. We've seen it clearly. We saw it against Chelsea. We saw it against Wolves. We'll see it against Villa and we'll see it against City. You thought I was breaking into poem there, didn't you? You'd be so lucky. I'm only good at haikus. Look, he's going to be probably on his way. Let's be frank about that. Long time still at the club, but I talked about in the video that I did earlier that Poch players are still playing at this club. Now, Son being a Poch player, okay, he's had an amazing season so far. He's not of my concern. He's not of an issue. The two centre-halves are my issue. The two centre-halves aren't good enough to be playing at Spurs. So if we can move him on, even if it's just for 6 months, he might even take a permanent deal to go to Bayern Munich. I don't know. But even if it's just for the 6-month loan and Bayern take his wages, I don't even care about a fee. I just want, that position, that squad position opened up. You think about him, Lloris, same thing. I don't care about a fee. I don't care, if we get nothing. I just want that position to be freed to bring someone else in. We'll see. I think Dier will move on in the January transfer window. Let's talk scouting Sporting Lisbon stars. It's from Graham Bailey through 90-Minute Football, who put out that Tottenham watched Sporting Lisbon's loss to Benfica, and both Marcus Edwards and Pedro Goncalves were of interest. I would say they probably looked at more than just those two players, like Inacio, but that's neither here nor there. The Marcus Edwards link, I think, will always be there, if I'm honest. I just do. He's a Tottenham boy, he's English, all those things. I just think it will always be there. Until he at least maybe moves to the Premier League, because I do end up seeing him moving into the Premier League at some point. With Pedro Goncalves, I didn't see that one coming. I'm not going to spend tons of time on that, because there might not be any substance to Pedro Goncalves links. And if you're a FIFA player, then it's Pedro G Fuel. You'll know that. I think there's probably more substance to the fact that we'll be looking at Edwards and Inacio. That's what I think. Anytime we're going to be scouting Lisbon, I think they're the two players we'll be scouting, is Edwards and Inacio. Inacio, obviously, I saw a report that there was an opportunity, I think it was for Man United. I don't truly know. Don't hold me to that. The fact that they could do a deal for 45 million euros, whilst 15 million euros could be on add-ons to make up that 60 million euro release clause. Again, that's possible. And again, I still think Spurs have the biggest place to work in this because of the 25% for Marcus Edwards. So if you're not keen on Marcus Edwards and you did want Inacio, you absolutely could use that in a leverage thing to kind of say, look, 25% is 15 million euros. Why don't we just wipe that straight off? You can have that 15% back. You'll have 100% of Marcus Edwards. So if you raise his release clause through a contract, He's all yours. If you sell him for 80 million euros, you get 80 million euros. We're going to work then to a deal of 45 million euros for Gonzalo Inacio, because that's how it works. 60 minus 15 is 45. You're welcome for the maths lesson. It's Monday evening, you're welcome. But then could we work on a deal of 30 million euros with 15 million out? I don't know. I think that's a trump card though, and that's something that, either Spurs, they really like Inacio and they'll be able to use that, or they're not sold on him, or they're not sold, on getting Edwards, and they'll kind of just let it roll. That if he signs a new contract and then he gets sold for 18 million euros, Spurs go, we get 25%, we'll have 20 million euros, thanks. I don't know. I would probably want Inacio out of that situation. I would. I think probably a lot of us would. When we come to look at next season, I expect to be in Europe. We're going to be playing twice, even sometimes 3 times a week. We need to have 2 sets of centre-halves that we are very confident can play similar levels of football. Same with right back, same with left back. That's why I think left back needs work. I think that's why I need right back needs work. I think even backup keeper could do with some work. We need at least 1 more centre-half, depending on what we think of Ashley Phillips by the end of the season. I think you're going to need to get midfielders in. I think you need to get attackers in. I still think this is going to require this January transfer window, the summer, and actually I was thinking about it, maybe even another January transfer window. So we're looking at maybe a year before we truly see maybe an Ange squad. It's going to take time. We can't just bring in 20 players, get rid of 20 players. It's not going to work like that. Players are going to be here that we're not too keen on. I'm not too keen on Emerson Royale. I still expect him to be here after next summer. Shamefully. Now, I might change my tune on that, but right now, that's how I see it. Same with Ben Davies. They'll look at him as a backup left back. Now, unless they think Session can really improve, I'd be looking at moving Session on. I'd look to move Davies on, Emerson on. I'd look to move Dier on. I'd look to move Lloris and Forster on. I've just said, 6, 7 names there, and I've not even moved into the midfield or attack where there's more names in those lists, But hey, and let's look at the last story. So this came from Miguel Delaney, or Miguel, however you want to say it. So that Tottenham are looking at Juventus. Oof, don't crucify me this, but I'm going to go with Illing Jr. for January chance window, okay? Now, I'm not going to sit here and say to you that I watch a ton of Juventus football. I don't. I kept tabs actually on their last game for no reason. Just like you get notifications. I didn't have anything for 45 minutes. It just went straight to half time. And I looked at it. I don't even think they had a shot on target in the first half. So, not great. Not great at all. Now, he is a very high profile England under 21, if you're not aware. So I'll give you some stats about him so you have a bit of an idea. I mean, transfer market in the summer rated him at 9 million euros. I'd expect him to be a bit more than that, to be honest. He's only played 4 times in the Serie A this season. He's got 1 assist, but he's only played 113 minutes. So you're looking at less than 30 minutes a game, okay? He is a attacking winger that can play through the middle as well. His contract does expire, though, in the summer of 2025. The fact he's English, the fact he's at CAA base that we Spurs have worked with, the fact he's probably not going to set you back hundreds of millions of pounds, all these things sit and scream exciting. And that could be a database kind of style. That could be. I'm not saying it is. And I will trust the scouts on this because I think, look, we're slagging off Scott Munn, we're slagging off Johan Lang, and there's no real reason to be doing so. Scott Munn joined late because City Group wouldn't allow him to leave when we expected him to leave. Johan Lang only joined at the start of November. We're sitting, November 13th. He's not even had 2 weeks in the role yet. He's obviously brought his guys like Mackenzie over. He's brought other guys that he's worked with in the past. They all need time to get going. It's not. I think we'll start to see something maybe in sort of early mid-December. Really start to see some real crazy links because we're getting linked with crazy players already. But I think that will step up another level. And I mean, look, I didn't see Illing Jr. being on that list. I won't lie to you. I'm not going to sit there and think, of him because he's barely played. You've participated in 4 games, less than 30 minutes as an average between those 4 games. I don't know. I'm not going to even sit here and say that he's going to be an amazing player, a great player, a rubbish player. I'm not. But what I'm going to say is there is raw potential through Illing Jr. that good coaching can develop. And that's the way I look at a lot of these players. And that's, I think, the way Ange will look at them, the scouts, Levy. We're going to buy low, we're going to work them high. Make of that what you will. Anyway, guys, that's the end of the video. I know it's a little bit of a longer one, but there's plenty to get in through there, so I hope you did enjoy it. Drop a like on the video if you did. Helps me with the algorithm, gets more people to see my videos, which is nice. In the comment section below, hit me. Look, you've got the Sporting Lisbon links. You've got Illing Jr., you've got Eric Dier to Bayern Munich, you've got Sebastian Cáceres bid rejected, you've got the links with Trevor Chalobah. Let me know in the comment section below about all of it. You might comment 1 or 2 times, you might even comment 3 or 4 times, just because there's a lot to get into, I know. Subscribe to the channel if you are new, and I will give you an update. There is a video that I will potentially link tomorrow, just analysing Spurs' season so far, going through some statistics, sort of just making people feel a bit better about themselves. And I think you'll enjoy it. But anyway, hit the bell notification so you definitely get notified by that and other videos that I release. And anyway, guys, that's the end of the video, and I'll see you all very, very soon. Take care, guys.